Hi, readers. So, you are continuing to work on your biography projects. But in the meantime, I wanted to continue to read Who is Malala Yousafzai so we can find out what happens to her. Now, remember, before we just dive into her books, it's important to rev up our minds for reading and kind of remind ourselves of what we previously read. So, right before we stopped, we read that Malala, where she was living, was becoming really dangerous. The Taliban closed down her school. Girls couldn't go to school. Everything was being destroyed. Women were not being treated fairly at all. And so Malala decided to speak out, and she had a blog, and she was interviewing with famous newspapers. And so people started to know who she was. So it was actually no longer safe for her to be in her home. So her and her family moved away and lived with other family members for a while until it would be safe to return. Chapter 6. Who is Malala? By autumn of 2012, Mingora appeared to have returned to normal. The Pakistan army had cleared the Taliban from the city. Once again, the streets were alive with scooters and rickshaws. Children were playing cricket outside. The movie theater and barbershops had reopened. Some of Malala's favorite shows were back on TV. Many schools had been rebuilt, and the girls of Mingora had returned to their classrooms. Malala had become famous. In 2011, the Dutch Kids' Rights Foundation had nominated her for the International Children's Peace Prize. The prize is presented every year to a child whose courageous or otherwise remarkable acts and thoughts have made a difference in countering problems which affect children around the world. She did not win that year, but it was an honor to be simply recognized. That same year, the Prime Minister of Pakistan had started the National Youth Peace Prize. It would be given each year to children under 18 who had done the most for peace. Malala was awarded the prize. The name of the prize was later changed to the National Malala Peace Prize. Her family was very proud of her, but they had become fearful. Malala rarely walked to or from school. Everyone knew that Taliban fighters had not gone far. They were out there somewhere, in the hills surrounding Mingora. No one was sure what they would do next. So even though things were returning to normal, it was still dangerous, especially for someone like Malala, who was known for speaking out. On October 9, 2012, Malala was feeling happy and proud as she climbed onto the small school bus with her friends. She had studied hard for a test and thought she had done a good job. It was a warm fall day, and the leaves were beginning to turn red and brown and yellow. Malala was 15 years old. Malala's small bus wasn't really a bus at all. It was more like a pickup truck with 3 rows of seats and a roof. The sides were covered, but the back of the bus was mostly open. The bus was crowded with high school girls and 3 teachers. Malala was sitting next to her friend Moniba. Everyone had been singing and talking about tests. Suddenly, the bus stopped, and a man with a gun leaned in the back of the bus. "Who is Malala?" the man asked. Some of the girls glanced at Malala. The man watched their eyes. He knew the girl they were looking at must be the girl he was searching for. The man pointed the gun at Malala and pulled the trigger. Malala remembered very little about what happened after that. She did not remember being shot in the head. She had no memory of the helicopter that flew her to the military hospital in Peshawar, Pakistan, and her father arriving, or the surgery that saved her life. She was unaware of how sick she was after the operation or the response to what had happened. Reporters gathered outside the hospital. Malala's picture appeared in newspapers all over the world. A local Taliban man had shot Malala, the article said. The news disgusted everyone, first in Pakistan, then everywhere. No one could believe that a young girl had been shot. A Muslim child being hurt like that was unheard of. Malala was famous around the world now. Some of the stories made her sound almost too good to be true. But Malala was a regular girl. She liked Justin Bieber songs. Her favorite color was pink. She hated waking up early in the morning. She spent lots of time creating different hairstyles for herself. She wished she wasn't so short, and she really enjoyed going to school, just like billions of other kids. Yet her love of learning was the reason she had been shot. Malala was alive, yet remained very ill. Everyone at the hospital was worried about her. The operation was a success. Still, the doctors knew she would need the best care to recover completely. Malala was flown to a bigger hospital in Pakistan. She didn't remember that either. Soon, Malala improved enough to be moved once again, this time to a hospital in Birmingham, England, that specialized in injuries like hers. All right, and that's where we're going to stop for today. So remember, you're continuing to work on your biography projects. Bye, readers.